The United States Senate race between Jaime Harrison and current United States Senator Lindsey Graham is heating up just 5 days before Election Day. I speak exclusively of Jaime for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook.
Jaime Harrison, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Yes, Quintin, it's so good seeing you, my friend.
You're very welcome. I know the last time I interviewed you was when you were the South Carolina Democratic Party chairman. Now
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. And now you're a candidate for the United States Senate. Obviously, you're going up against current United States Senator Lindsey Graham. And I want to go back to what you said on Twitter. You said this recently. You said this quote, "The old South is fading and the new South is rising. We will be a South defined by boldness, diversity, and inclusion." What's an example of the new South in your campaign?
Yeah. Well, you know, part of the New South, Quintin, is just looking at the staff that I put together on this campaign. I told my staff jokingly, it's like watching a United Colors of Benetton ad, because the diversity, the great diversity of the state, the great diversity of this nation is on hand and on display. And when you put folks together with different backgrounds and different experiences, that is the greatness of this nation. That's the strength of this nation. You know, we are talking each and every day about how we bring hope back to South Carolina. And for me, the New South it's a place of hope. It's a place where every person is valued and they should have their voices heard. It's a place where every kid, regardless of their background, regardless of how they grow up, should have the opportunity to live the American dream. I've been fortunate and blessed enough, Quintin, to live the American dream. And I want to fight to make sure that all kids get that same type of opportunity.
And you also said this too, and we need leaders who believe in that vision. How many people in South Carolina believe that vision right now?
Well, I don't believe that they see it in Lindsey Graham. You know, I'm sure you heard his statements as of late. You know, one statement that, you know, you can do and be anything in South Carolina if you're an African American, as long as you're conservative. That's not who we are. It shouldn't matter if you're conservative, liberal, independent. It shouldn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. It shouldn't matter what your religion is or any of that. You should be, as an American, you should be able to do anything in this country, regardless of what your background is. And that is because that's the greatness of America. That's the richness of this great nation. And to have a senator who represents not just conservatives, he represents all of South Carolina's people. Pick and choose who can be successful and who can't. That's not good enough. That's a relic of an old South. That is not what we see in the New South. And so I'm sure there are a lot of people who aren't happy about the direction where we're going in right now. But that's why they get an opportunity to change that on November 3rd.
Now, as you know, Bill Bledsoe dropped out of the race and has endorsed Senator Graham. But let me ask you this, Jaime. In what way is that unethical and dishonest to promote a third-party candidate in that way?
Well, listen, Bill Bledsoe is still on the ballot, Quintin. I don't know if you voted yet, but I have. And when you go to the U.S. Senate ballot, he is the top of the line. Bill Bledsoe also has not officially turned in his paperwork to withdraw from the race. So he may have said it, but he hadn't done it. And so, you know, I'm old enough to remember that third-party candidates can influence how an election is. And I have an obligation to make sure that I educate people on who's on the ballot and where they stand on the issues that are important. Bill Bledsoe's on that ballot. And I can guarantee you this, Quintin, if he got the majority of votes, Bill Bledsoe will happily go to Washington, D.C. to represent South Carolina in the U.S. Senate.
Now, how is he influencing your campaign right now with with him still being on the ballot, obviously?
Well, he's on the ballot, and so therefore he can draw votes. And so that's why it's important for folks to understand who he is. You know, there are a lot of people who can't afford to be political wonks like us, Quintin, and so, you know, spend all the time to do all the research, and they make their decisions because they're busy working, and they make their decisions last minute. Folks need to understand who's on the ballot and where they stand on the issues that are important to the people of South Carolina.
Where do you stand right now on the issues of South Carolina?
Well, in terms of my stance, you know, I believe that healthcare is our number one issue in the state. We need to make sure that we strengthen the Affordable Care Act. We need to make sure that we stop our rural hospitals from closing. We've lost 4 rural hospitals over the course of the past few years. Just 2 years ago, 14 of our 46 counties had no OBGYNs. 250,000 people in the state don't have health care because Republicans have refused to expand Medicaid. On the issue of infrastructure, our infrastructure is falling apart in the state. 38% of rural communities don't have access to broadband. Many of our roads and bridges are falling apart. Education, we know that education is underfunded in our public schools. Our teachers need more pay. So, I can go issue after issue after issue. Lindsey Graham's been in Washington, D.C. for 25 years. He's represented South Carolina, and he also oversaw this period in which so many things have gone wrong in the state, and that's why he needs to go.
Now, let me talk to you about the Senate. If you were in the United States Senate right now, how would you have voted this week on the nomination of now Justice Amy Coney Barrett?
Well, Quintin, I'm not sure about that, and partly because there are a number of issues that I still, questions that I still have for Justice Barrett. I congratulate her on being named to the Supreme Court, but listen, this should not have even come up. Because remember, there was a precedent established and set in 2016. And Lindsey Graham said in his own words, use my words against me, hold the tape. We should not take up the nomination of a judicial appointment during the midst of an election year. And not only did he take it up, not only did he vote for it, but he actually oversaw the hearing. I believe the greatest travesty that a public servant can do is lie to the people that they represent. And Lindsey Graham lied to the people of South Carolina. He said he wouldn't do something, and he did the exact opposite of it. And then he didn't man up and take ownership of actually changing his mind. He tried to blame it on everybody else. But in the end of the day, this is about Lindsey Graham and his actions, not what other people do, but his actions. And so we should not have taken up this nomination at this point in time because the people in South Carolina voted. I wish they would have put the urgency in this and put it into another COVID relief bill.
And how would you have voted on that?
Well, I would vote, not only vote for a COVID relief bill, I would push a COVID relief bill. We desperately need one. The Senate hasn't acted in 7 months. Lindsey Graham took part of August off, even got a tan. We need somebody who's going to do the work of the people of South Carolina. Yeah, great. Justice Barrett is on the Supreme Court. But how does that help families in North Charleston that are on the verge of being evicted? How does that help families who've been unemployed for months now? How does that help folks put food on the table? It doesn't. That's the urgency of the moment right now. How does it help the small businesses that are on the brink of closing in Charleston? We need a COVID relief bill. Not yesterday, but we need it now.
I know you got to run, but let me ask you one last question. How many seats are you willing to expand on the Supreme Court if you're elected?
Well, Quintin, I've said that in my lifetime, I've only known 9, and I don't see any reason to change thus far. And so that's where I currently stand on that issue.
And what contract would you have with the residents of South Carolina if elected?
Yeah, say that again.
What contract would you have with the residents of South Carolina if elected?
Well, one of the contracts or one of the obligations is I've pledged to make sure that I do a town hall in every county in South Carolina in my 6-year term as United States Senator. Lindsey Graham hasn't done a town hall here in South Carolina in almost 3 years, man. 3 years. And because it's not a priority for him. Washington, D.C. is his priority. But when I'm in the Senate, South Carolina will be my priority.
Jaime Harrison, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin.
Likewise.